Anyway, we are now in the beginning of the third Perek, Masechet Rosh Hashanah, an exciting Perek, no doubt. A continuation of all that we've seen before, and yet it's a new Perek, finishing up some things about Kiddush HaChodesh, and from there we will journey into the world of Rosh Hashanah itself. So stay tuned. Here we are on Daf Chaf Hey Amud Bet. Ra'u Beitin B'chol Yisrael Nachkru Ha'edim V'lo Yispiku Lomar Mekudesh Ad Sheichshicha Harei Uber. So the first clause of the Gemara, which of course will be of the Mishnah, which will be analyzed by the Gemara, is confusing. And to read it on at face value, the Beit Din and all of the Jewish nation saw the new moon. They investigated the witnesses, and they didn't have enough time to say Mekudesh, and it was already dark outside. So then it's going to be Ma'uber, play passes to the new month. Rashi right here, we're ready. Mefarish b'Gemara inami nachkru ha'edim. Rashi can't wait for you to open the Gemara, so he tells you there's really like a semicolon or a comma. Inami means basically it's a new piece, right? And also nachkru ha'edim. So it's two different cases. One, the Beit Din saw it, and maybe the whole nation saw it. Skip, but they didn't have enough time to say Mekudesh, and it was dark outside. That's Ma'uber. That's what Rashi wants you to know. Second clause, if they were investigating the witnesses and they did not have time to say Mekudesh before it got dark, so then it's Ma'uber, right? So this was the 29th as the sun is setting. They see the new moon, and then lo and behold, what happens? It's dark out. It's already the night of the 30th. They never said Mekudesh, so we're going to move to the next day is going to be Rosh Chodesh, not the 30th, but the 31st. All in a technicality.
Yeah, doesn't it take just a few seconds to say Mekudesh?
Yeah, right. How long does it take? No. Get up. Oh, Mekudesh. Right, Mazel Tov, But the question is how. So obviously the case must be somehow it was so much on the line that they did not have the 2 seconds that were required. Nicha with the Nachkuru Edim. It took a long time, right? The guy. I don't know what. They're testing the witnesses. Yeah, so they have to interrogate one and then the other. There's a process. Right. Maybe it took too long. But the first case, Art's pointing out, everybody saw it. Everybody knows. Mm-hmm. How long does it take? Stand up and have one guy. No.
Well, all they had to do was say Mekudesh.
Right. Well, all I've said is Mekudesh. But as Steve is pointing out, here in the live studio, if you will, is exactly that. Maybe it was exactly on the line.
Right. Okay.
So on the line that everybody look at someone, everyone's, I don't know what, they're sipping tea, and the sun is going to set, and one of them looks up. Oh my goodness, look. Everybody looks. Wow. Boom. Too late.
But they didn't have such precise clocks in those days either.
They didn't, but they did have an ability to see. Remember, we talked about this. The problem with seeing the new moon is that it is so close to Shkia that we're not talking about it's up there for an hour or even 25 minutes. Could be a very, very brief period of time that it just shown over the horizon, right? Right then and there. And it is malasot. So we're really talking about a very brief period of time.
Okay.
And therefore maybe not possible. So it's already dark. Now, Ra'u Beit Din Bilvad. Let's say for some reason only the court saw it, meaning no one showed up, no witnesses, but the court itself saw it. Yamdu Shnayim v'yidu b'fneihem v'yomru Mekudesh. So 2 out of the Beit Din will stand up and they'll testify. We just saw the moon. Okay, so Mekudesh. Exactly. It can't be a Beit Din of 3 because a Beit Din of 3, once you remove 2, you don't have a Beit Din anymore, which is the next case of the Mishnah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it could have also been a Beit Din of 71, but instead, right, it could have been a Beit Din of 71 also, but let's go with, so to speak, Occam's razor. It's 23. It's the smaller amount. Yeah, the 23 is the minimum after 3 because you'd still have the integrity of a Beit Din.
They had a 23 in Yerushalayim?
Well, in the city of Yerushalayim, there might have been, in addition to the upper court, the high court of Jerusalem, which is the high court of the Jewish people.
Right.
Think about it, federal and state. there still was a Beit Din of 23 for every tribe. Yehuda's a tribe, Binyamin's a tribe. The line runs through the Beit HaMikdash, actually. And most of the city is in Shevet Yehuda. They have their own Beit Din of 23. Binyamin has 23. They all have the lower court, what do you call it? The state court, the Shevet court. Yeah.
So any court could wear Rosh Chodesh?
So that's a question there also, right? Where exactly is this happening? Someone in Naphtali saw it and they're declaring Rosh Chodesh. What about everybody else? Right? So it's a little bit of a question. Where is this happening? Because I thought it had to happen in by the highest court that you have, so that it's sort of the highest court of the land. And the whole point was coming from Yerushalayim, right? Which makes it sound like,
That's why I go to Yerushalayim.
yeah, right. That's the central area. Why not just find the Beit Din of 23 in your district?
Yeah.
Go to your district court. You don't have to go all the way to Yerushalayim, but clearly there are all sorts of dispensations to get people to Yerushalayim. So sounds like the Beit Din, assuming that there is a Sanhedrin Hagadol in Yerushalayim, so there's also in that case going to be a Sanhedrin Ketana. We want to source it in that one place where the greatest dayanim are located. But it is taka a question. I mean, the guy in Zvulun, he's all the way up north. He's going to have to run all the way to Naphtali. Like I said, Asher, they're far north. They're going to come all the way down. Now, there was a point after there's no longer a high court in Yerushalayim. Well, not in the Harabayit. Then it goes down to Yerushalayim. Then it ends up moving. It goes to Yavne. So that's where they're being Mekadosh Chodesh, anywhere in Eretz Yisrael, right? But you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. There's 4 or 5 or 6 different tribes who are all making Shabbos or Rosh Chodesh for themselves. Yeah? Can't be. So it must be that wherever the Beit Din HaGadol is, but what Larry pointed out is, obviously we're not talking about a Beit Din of 3, because we just destroyed the integrity of the Beit Din. There's no Beit Din left. There's only 2 people have to get up to testify. So one guy's there.
So it should only be 23 if the 71 isn't operating.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. But the point is, obviously we're at 71, but also just work with 23 if that was all you had.
No,
Next line. Well, hold on. Next. Look at the first of the wide lines. The Mishnah. First of the wide lines. Ra'u shlosha v'hein beitin yamdu hashnayim v'yoshivu mechavereihem eitzel hayachid. If 3 saw it and they're the beitin, so then 2 will stand up to be witnesses, and they'll take from their fellows, people who are not actually dayanim, to sit next to the individual who's left. V'yidu b'fneim, they'll testify. V'yomru mekudesh mekudesh she'nei yachid ne'aman al yidei atzmo, because an individual is not trustworthy on their own. They can't serve as a dayan on their own. Is that what it means? I mean, this is what the Gemara is going to get into. What does that mean? Who's not trustworthy? I mean, he's not ne'aman al yidei atzmo. Is that a procedural statement? Is it a fundamental statement? It's procedural. You need a Beit Din of 3. You don't have it. Is there a circumstance where you could have a dayan that's sitting by himself to be serving as a dayan on a case? Does it always require a Beit Din of 3 as the minimum? Yeah. The default we have is, you need a Beit Din of 3. That's for dinim amonot, etc. So all this and more, some of the questions we're going to get into, and I guess we'll go into it now. There is one question no one has asked me yet, but maybe it's still coming. The whole Beit Din saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the witnesses doing? What are the witnesses doing? The witnesses, why do you need witnesses in a court? Because they weren't there.
Plus it talks about it. Doesn't it?
I mean, there are psukim about Edut. But this speaks to the heart of what is the point of the Kiddush HaChodesh. Is it, we're trying to figure things out? If someone were to ask you, what is Kiddush HaChodesh? Is to figure things out, is it actually Rosh Chodesh or not? Well, we kind of already said they already know the calculation anyway. So what does that leave us with? It's ceremonial. So the ceremony requires, right? It's something, the halacha requires it. Okay. But at the same time, the counter argument, the argument for the first side, that no, you're trying to figure things out. We are going to test the witnesses when they testify. We're going to ask them questions. We're going to interview them. We're going to see, do you know what you're talking about? We're going to show them charts, the whole thing on the tavla, it's a tablet, right? I don't know what generation iPad it was, a tablet of some sort. He gave him Amazon Fire, showed up, and he had it on the wall. with a projector, showing them what it says, it's describing. So we're trying to figure things out. But we don't have to figure anything out when the Beit Din is all there. They saw it.
If they saw it.
In the cases where they saw it. But Ra'u Shlosha.
Right.
Ve'hein Beit Din.
Yeah.
No. Yamdu Shna Hashnayim Yeshivim Mechareim Eitlatzmo. From here, it seems proof positive from the Mishnah. It seems that it must be that there is a halachic element to create this halachic reality, if you will, which does actually dovetail with the astronomical reality, which is now is Rosh Chodesh. We require a halachic mechanism, which is that two people testify to a court and the court announces Mekudesh. Not good enough for them to say, yeah, but we saw it ourselves. So, and in the first clause of the whole Mishnah here, Ra'u Beitin V'chol Yisrael. V'chol Yisrael means that everybody already tweeted pictures of it to everybody else, and they WhatsApped the picture. Oh, look at this! Everybody saw it. Everybody saw it. Yeah. So, what are we doing over here? No, you still need the Beitin to announce this is where you see that these two elements, and this is what we always do, or not always, we very often do in the halachic system, which is the halachic reality, the halachic view of the world will be will have everything else fit into it, and not vice versa. With some notable exceptions. Shabbos, Kviva Kayama, just whenever it comes, it comes. But in things that are given over to the Chachamim to figure out, the halacha is going to determine what the astronomical reality is, and not vice versa. Everybody knows Rosh Chodesh, Rabbi. We all saw it. It's not like they will announce, they won't announce. No, but the designation of whether this is going to be Rosh Chodesh will come down to whether the Beit Din will say it is or not. And if they haven't had time because they ran out of time, so sorry, too bad. Which brings up the next question, which is, why too bad? Well, we just finished saying they can decide, so we can decide at any time. Unless there's a reason why they can't decide at night. Because generally the court doesn't sit at night. So if they don't sit at night, so then, wait a minute, so they don't sit at night, which implies that there is some kind of adjudication going on, and this is kind of like Dine Mamonot, where we require a Beit Din of 3 to make things happen. You follow?
But we weren't the case. It's already night.
Next morning.
It's exactly.
Yeah, right. So now we have to try to figure this out a little bit. And that's what the Gemara is wrestling with. Okay, what's driving what? Is this strictly a halachic reality that has to come into force, and therefore you need two witnesses? Doesn't matter if they already saw it, doesn't matter if the whole world knows. Two witnesses have to stand before a Beit Din and announce. Yeah? I mean, lahavdol, but it just is a little bit on my mind for reasons you understand. The couple's getting married. He did give the ring. He didn't give the ring. They're getting married. They moved into the house together, and we sang a song, and they went into the house together. The halach says, no. There's something called kiddushin, and this is what has to happen. And you need eidim. And that's why? Because the halachic reality is what's determinative about the status, whether they're married or they're not married.
Procedural?
Huh? Yeah. But the procedural is creating a halachic reality that has tokef, it has power, it has staying power in of itself, right? As opposed to this is just putting a stamp on some natural process that's happening. You see the distinction? That's what's happening now. The Gemara is wrestling with this. What is Kiddush HaChodesh? We're still asking the question, really. Is it just to figure out what's really happening in the sky? Well, yeah, but we already know. They already figured it out. This week's Parsha, the right Torah for this week's Parsha, right? Rashi right there, talking about the Yisachar and their Yodei Binali Itim. It's from the Pasuk in Divrei Yamim. They were great minds in Torah, and they knew a lot about astronomy. They didn't call it astronomy. They knew about the ways of the stars, etc. They knew how to configure time. So it makes sense that since they already knew, it must be the whole thing is no more than a procedural halachic reality that's being created, but because it's religious. It doesn't matter what's going on in the sky. I mean, it matters somewhat, but alternatively, there are elements here that are still about being mevarer what's happening. And the more we talk about it as, well, they can't do it at night because, I mean, Beit Din doesn't meet at night. Yeah, but this isn't the regular Mamonot case, is it? Unless it is. like a mamonot case. So is that going to impact whether we can do it at night or not? And we're going to see something surprising about the mamonot cases, which you may remember if you're doing daf yomi or something, but if not, see it again for the first time. So if you look at Rashi, just on the Mishnah, we saw the first one already. Ra'u beitin bilvad shein mi sheyayid elahem. Right? They're the beitin saw it, and there's no one else who's going to show up. V'lava reisha kai b'samach l'chashecha ela shahaya shehut l'kadesh. Rashi points out here that if only the beitin saw it, okay, and only the beitin saw it, the case here is not that it was close to sunset; it's they had enough time to be mekadesh in time. Huh?
Yeah.
So if Ra'u Beitin, that was line 3. Ra'u Beitin Bilvad Yamdu Shnayim V'Ya'idu B'Fnei V'Yom B'Kodesh B'Kodesh. That wasn't that it was too late. It's just giving you a general case that they saw it and there was enough time to be Mekadesh. This is how you have to do it. Yamdu Shnayim V'Ya'idu B'Fnei V'Af B'Pisha Kulan Ra'u. Even though everybody saw it. Uve Gemara Perek Lo Tehei Shmiya Gedolim Re'iyah. In the Gemara, there is actually this question that will be asked. You can't allow Shmiya to be greater than Re'iyah. Shmiya, I mean, ain't no doma Shmiya Re'iyah. You can't make Shmiya greater than Re'iyah. What's Shmiya? We're hearing about something that happened. Re'iyah, we saw it ourselves. Right? So the Gemara is going to ask that as a question. And yet the Mishnah is telling us, yes, you need the two witnesses to get up and say that it happened. But they're not telling the rest of the Beitin any information. Because the Beitin is sitting and they see that the two people said something that they already know. Okay, but we require the procedure. Yeah, it's not a Kiddush. So, v'yidu b'fneim hashnayim, the two should give the testimony. Sheni yachid ne'aman, right? That's the beitin of 3. 2 will get up and they'll make the announcement. Sheni yachid ne'aman, l'mar mekudesh b'fnei atzmo, l'chein tzarich lahoshiv michaverei and etzlo. They have to bring another 2 to sit down to make the beitin of 3. By the way, it's interesting when it said beitin of what we think is a beitin of 23. 2 of them have to get up and speak to the beitin. Do they have to put 2 more people to sit down with the original 23 because they're down to 21 or not? It's not clear. It doesn't tell you.
But you said it's coming, but it won't be a bet of 23, but it would still be a kosher bet of 3.
Wait, say that again. Oh, well, you'll have 3. Yeah, but it doesn't say tell the other people to get up. Tell the 18 to get up, and you'll leave 3. Well, 16. Well, no, 18 to get up.
Why you can't have 21?
The chord is 3, 23, or 71. That's it. So there is a question, it's more of a Sanhedrin question. If you have 5,
Yeah.
So is that can you have 5 or 21? Or is there something about having the number that actually is the prescribed number? Else, it could have just said any odd number of people, you need a minimum of 3 for civil cases, a minimum of 23 for capital cases. So if you have less than 23, you have 21, you have 17, you can still do your monetary cases. Or do we say, no, 3 for that, 23 for that? And that's more of a Sanhedrin kind of a question. But it did say that if you have 3 who are sitting there all together and 2 of them want to get up and stand in front of the one, they can't do that thing to put 2 more people to sit down. But it never said that 23 require 2 more to replace the 2 who got up. Is it required or not? All right, it's kind of up in the air, right? So Ra'u Beitin Bilvad, if you look at Tosfot, the first Tosfot on the page, from our Perek at least, it's not the first on the page, but first in the Perek, Ra'u Beitin Bilvad, Perush Beitin Shalchav Gimel. Tosfot explains it must be a Beitin of 23. Ulakach Perush Bekuntris Dehayalem Shehut. That's why the Rashi has to say they had some time. If they didn't have the time, because the time went away anyway, so my probably marvel to Shmiya Gedola Maria. What are you asking me the question of that Shmiya shouldn't be, how are you making Shmiya greater than Re'iyah? All right? They saw it already. So hello, Hayalahem Shehut Lakadesh. Right? So they didn't have time. If the issue was they didn't have time,
What does shahut mean?
Shehut is time. The time to wait.
Okay.
Lishahot, it's waiting. Not sha'ah, but shahah. To wait. So Tosfot concludes that the reason why the Rashi said the beitin is that they had time. He says that they had time. The issue is that it's 23. If they didn't have time, so why is the Gemara even asking Shmiya shouldn't be gedolah than Re'iyah? Could have just said, yeah, all right, they're all there. Just announce it right away. right? So it must be they had the time, and therefore they had to put two in front, and the two are going to announce, right? And that's the procedure that should be followed in that case. So exactly what Larry says, it was to be 23. Tosfot says, yeah, it was 23. That's correct. It was 23. Okay. Do we go on to the Gemara? Lama the Mitna, the Gemara, Lama the Mitna, Ra'u Beitin V'chol Yisrael. Why do you have Beitin on all of the Jewish people at the same time? It's Terich. Use required. Sal Kedai Dechamina, Hol Ra'u Beitin V'chol Yisrael, Ifarsim Allah, Persume Chodesh. Persume Nisa, Persume Chodesh. Everybody knows. V'lo le'abrua. And it's not, and obviously the Beitin is not going to make it a b'ma'aber the chodesh, make it a 30-day month, but rather 29 goes into the next day, which is not called 30, but it should be called 1. Kamash Malan. No, so the Mishnah is telling you that if they ran out of time and there wasn't an actual declaration, there isn't going to be a new month, even if the whole world knows it. The halacha will override the sensory reality that everyone experienced. No, because the Beit Din didn't. No, we didn't say. So we ran out of time. Sorry. Yeah, well, we saw it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's the chiddush. The Mishnah said. The Gemara says that's the chiddush of the Mishnah. Kamash Malan. That's going to be required. Just to see Rashi here. Level limit call Yisrael hara'u beitin. Right? Why? If it says the Beitin saw it, after the Jewish people saw it. Ifarsma le milta to biyom shloshim nireh lekadshot. Right? It was made. It was obvious that the 30th day would be the day that they would be making into Rosh Chodesh, but they didn't. So just because they have like maybe announcements or something, just because you saw it doesn't mean that they said it's Rosh Chodesh. You better check in to make sure it actually happened in time. V'kevan.
Art scroll, we're talking about the 3 judges. They are 3 of the Sanhedrin Haggadah. They're not just stamazai 3 judges sitting as a base din.
In the case of the Mishnah.
In the case of the Mishnah.
Yeah.
So they're not talking about.
Right. Although, but the Gemara, you'll see soon, the Gemara is going to open us a new understanding there that we didn't see previously about that. That is the assumption of the Mishnah. Yeah. That is the assumption of the Mishnah. Yeah. But let's keep going because you're gonna see what's gonna happen now. So the Gemara says v'kevan detanalei ra'u beitim chol Yisrael nachkira edim lamali. If you said that the beitim and the whole Jewish people saw it, so what do you mean you're investigating the edim? We already know the answer because Rashi told us before. Couldn't wait. Halika amar. All right, this is what it should say. Inami nachkira edim. Inami. Case 1 where the whole beitim and the Jewish people saw it. Case 2 where the edim were being examined. V'lo yispiku lomar mekudash ad shechashecha hareizim meubar. V'keven netanei ad shechashecha hareizim meubar. Lamalei lemitnaye chakira edim klal. If you pointed out that they ran out of time, the Beit Din saw it, the Jewish people saw it, the sun sets too late. So isn't that obvious then that if you're still checking the edim and they didn't get there in time, the sunset, it's too late? It's superfluous to tell me about, they're still checking the edim. Yeah, because we just learned the case. The Beit Din saw it. They don't have to wait for edim. They are the edim. Just tell you and you stand up and say, we saw. Great, Mekudesh. They didn't have time. Sunset. Too late. And we know that all the Jewish people saw it. So it was pretty obvious. It's literally a procedural thing. So Kal v'chomer, that when you're sitting with edim and you're still checking them, so the process is still going. So what was your half of me not to think that the edim is still being checked, but somebody could say Mekudesh, what, after dark? So the Gemara says it's terich. So because you might have come to say, Tihavi chakirat edim ki tchila din, mekudesh ki gemar din. You might have thought that chakirat edim is the tchila din, right? And mekudesh is the gemar din. By way of analogy, it's Shabbos, and Shal Shudas runs late. You started your meal on Shabbos, then you can still say Ritzeh after Shabbos. It's not an exact analogy, but the point is, maybe we started the process before. They came and they said, we saw the moon. You did? They said it. Okay, now, come into the back room, number 1, and you go wait, and then you're going to have a turn also. And they bring him in the back room, and in the back room is the charts and the whole thing. Okay, we're in the process. Asukin ba'oto enyan. So maybe Gemara did. Maybe, right? So Ulakachi B'Laila, maybe they could say Mekudesh at night, because that is what happens with Dine Mamonot. Here's a surprise. It's not. As we learn in Masechet Sanhedrin. This is not something that you would have thought of, but unless you had Sanhedrin in your head. Dine Mamonot, Danin B'Yom, V'Gomen B'Laila. Hachanami, V'Kachin B'Laila, V'Leilaya, Kamash Malan. They do adjudicate the cases that are civil cases, can only be done during the day, but you can finish the case at night. You can render verdict at night. If you started during the day, so the day is followed by a night, but as long as you began the process before, you can finish it at night. And it didn't draw other analogies like you have to give the korban during the day, but if we did this Rikad Adam, Stak Tardi Murim Vevarim is at night, because that has to do with korbanot, and that has to do with a halachic reality that the Torah itself tells you how to do. Here we're talking about Dine Mamonot, which is a court setting, so that's a better analogy. Court setting, Dine Mamonot, 3 judges. Kiddush HaChodesh, 3 judges. Maybe they're analogous. Checking witnesses to find out, did you see what you say you saw? They have to say what they saw. So therefore, maybe you think that if you started the process before, good enough, and you could still sit Mekudesh at night, Kamash Malan. When it's dark, it's too late. Yeah. The Ema Hachinami, and you could also say, this is also based on a pasuk. Amakra, pasuk that we know very well, that we said this morning, Kichok l'Yisrael hu, mishpat le'elokei Yaakov. It's a chok for Yisrael, an edict or a law for the Jewish people, right? And it is a mishpat, an adjudication for the God of Yaakov. Emet have a chok, bigmar din, b'gakar rachman a mishpat. When is it a chok? When do you call it a chok? When it's at the time of Gemar Din. Chok means the rule. Karli Rachman a mishpat, and it's also referred to as a mishpat. Ma mishpat b'yom, av hachanami b'yom. As a mishpat has to take place during the day, so too, this adjudication part, where your choker, the edim, etc., has to also take place during the day. Ki chok l'Yisrael hu, mishpat l'Elokei Yaakov. So, the first idea here to answer this you had this question. Havamina, Kamash Malan. Salkadai Chamina, you might have thought that maybe it's so analogous to a case, a monetary case, that if you started during the day, so your tail end, the verdict is rendered at night, it's okay. Kamash Malan, the Mishnah tells you not so. Or maybe you just learn it from the Psukim. Chok and Mishpat, both elements are related to the element of the Kiddush HaChodesh. Yeah. Rashi explicates this a little bit more. Look with me at Rashi. Rashi, Nechkura Edim Lamali, Chakiratan Achrei Shakol Ra'u. Why do you have to check? And the answer is, right, that no, it doesn't literally mean to check them. It means that's a separate case. It would have to be checked where it wasn't that the whole Jewish nation saw it. Is that they were the ones who saw it. Why have to talk about looking at all? If you already know that the whole Jewish nation saw it, then why do you need the Eidim to be checked? So came into Ashma'inan, the Chira'u beiting v'chol Yisrael, fil hachim abrin le, kol shekain, nachkura Eidim. If you want to say that the whole Jewish nation saw it, the beiting saw it, and yet they didn't make it in time to say Mekudesh before sunset, it's too bad. So you would have thought that maybe checking the Eidim is good enough. So Sakadad Chamina, Rashi, Hecha de Ika Chakirat Eidim biyom, Tulani Abrua, Eli Yigmru Hadavar B'Laila v'Yikadsu, Biyom Shloshim Le'in Tikun HaMoadot. So Rashi has a little bit of a different idea than what I just said, which is, and obviously Rashi's right, but I was basing myself on other Rishonim. It's not Tzvi versus Rashi, Chalila. Rashi says, you might have thought you could do the Chakira Eidim during the day, and we won't have to make an Ibur Chodesh, but rather they'll finish it at night, but the actual time of saying Mekudesh will have to be on the day of the 30th. So the Eidim come, they're being checked. Sunset is at 6. They come at 5:55. We start the process at 5:58. We're checking them till 7:10. And wow, okay, worked out. Great. We wait till next morning, 8 a.m., opening bell, 7:30, whatever it is. And the Beit Din says, Mekudesh, Mekudesh. We hold in our hand the testimony that we had last night. Mekudesh, Mekudesh. Yeah? No. Not going to work. Right? Salkadai Chamina, Kamash Malan, that's going to be too late. The Chakira Adam, everything has to be done before, as does the Mekudesh on that very day. Mishpat, Hainu Tchilat did. Right? The Mishpat is on at the beginning of the din. Kichoku b'kiddush hachodesh darshin alei perakama. In the first parak, we say Kichoku yisraelu mishpat l'lei Yaakov. Right? That's how you make Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the month. And how's it going to be the beginning of the month? Right? What is a chodesh? A chodesh mitkasebo. Which month is which holiday? Remember? But Kasdim Chagenu. Yeah. If you go by Chodesh over, when are you going to have a Rosh Chodesh where something is hit, where it's hidden? It's going to be time of Tekiyat Shofar. Oh, that's going to be Rosh Hashanah. V'chulei. So Mishpat B'yom Nafgon to Sanhedrin Mivahaya Bayom Hanchilo Et Banav B'yom Atamapil Nachalot. So even though in one place, it's not listed here, but some of them Rishonim point out, even though in one place it claims in Mishpatim that you could do the adjudications anytime, when it comes to the Nachla, that has to be in the daytime. Vaya Bayom Hanchilo Et Banav. So Bayom Atamapil Nachalot, only in the day. So we learn from that all Mishpat has to be taking place during the day. When it says Mishpat. When you want to do the Gemar Din, that could continue at night, but it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for Kiddush HaChodesh. That's gonna have to be Chok and Mishpat, everything during the daytime. Okay, are you with me? Yeah, please.
So what we can do when we can do it is set. Okay, is there a time frame? Like the Beis Din is given an hour and a half to adjudicate whatever.
I don't know. Right, I don't know.
The reason
Could they do it super speedy? 10 minutes.
Going into it's late in the day.
Hurry it up. Let's just do it.
Well, yeah, but basically requires there's a time frame too. If there is a time. Okay.
I don't know. It's a great question. Min Hastan, the parameters are such that they could speed it up. They could,
They could always speed it up. We know that. I think that it's a given.
Yeah, but I think, but Min Hastan, there wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough time, and so but that's it. Aber the Chodesh, say okay, Chodesh will be the following day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
We missed our window, if you will. It's kind of short. It's kind of short. But it's a good point. I'm really not sure. I don't know say if I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so I wanted to share something with you. It's actually in the Ran. The Ran quotes the Rashba about a particular problem, let's say, about this. But I realize right now that I didn't actually give it to you. It's 10:37. Maybe we'll just do this outside. Okay. I have an idea. Just thought of it right now. I am sending it to you on your phone. So if you have your phone, you could just open it up. It's becoming like SCP now, right? You have to, if you can read it on your phone. If not, I'm reading it line by line. You just got it in the WhatsApp. Chidush Haran.
On the WhatsApp.
Yeah. Well, that's the world that we're in, right? I'd look how much paper I just saved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Look, Ahmed Habibig Mardin, Vikarle Mishpat. All right. When is Chok? That's the time of Gemar Din. And yet it's also called a Mishpat. Ki Chok li Shalhu, Mishpat l'Elokei Yaakov. The second rendering. The first one just said, it's a Mishnah. That's the halacha. Second one said, it's in the Pasuk. Chok and a Mishpat. You need the element of Chok. The Gemar Din has to happen the day, and the Mishpat also during the day. Everything during the day. Hiksha Rashba. The Rashba asked the following question. This is the Chidush Yaran. Hiksha Rashba Zal. Time of the Gemara. You know what? Ira and other and Chuck, give me one more second. I'll put it on the screen for you because why should you miss out?
but-
Okay, good. Now, now it's in big on the screen, so it's good. Okay, and everyone's in person. You see it in person. Okay, here. So chok emat have bigmar din v'kari le mishpat, right? Hiksha rash bazal. Time of the Gemara dehacha have kitchilat din de alma v'lo efshar b'laylahu de lo mekadshin b'layla sahalav hachi mekadshin le lemafreya afi she'avar yomo. Right. So the Rashba asked as follows: the reasoning of the Gemara here that the Tchilat Hadin, right, cannot happen at night because you can't be Kaddish at night. So, but if you did have the Tchilat Hadin before, maybe Lamafreya, you could say, well, the day passed, but we started this process before sunset. So in Cain, if so, Akati Amayme Abrinan Le Likad Shul Machar to have a Tchilat Hadin Ugmar Din B'Yom. So, okay, why are you me'aber the Chodesh? Why don't you just wait for the next day in the morning and do the Kiddush HaChodesh, Hatchalat Din, and the Gemara Din in the day? You tell the witnesses, stay, wait till tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened? Tirates. And he answered, the Bishlama ihave afshar lekadshu lekadushe balayla nicha. Delohaya afseke zman, shinaroy lekadesh ba. Havad mekevin the afseke zman, shinaraui, ein roy lekadsh la'achar zman, elu dvarav. Zal. What he answered is, you're right. If the issue was that you can't be Makadish at night, so it's true. You would just, since you're not Roa, you can't make Kiddush Chodesh happen at night. So you can just wait till the morning and you do the whole process in the morning. The point here is that there was a hefsek of the process. The Rashba, quoted in the Ran, is that if you have a hefsek in the process, and what's the hefsek? We're in the middle of the process. Halt. We can't continue what we're doing because now it's dark outside. There was a break in the process. You cannot pick up where you left off afterward because the whole night you weren't able to do your adjudication. You broke the trend.
So we start. You don't start again though.
That's the Rashba. The point is that, right. If you didn't start anything, right, that's right. That's right. The Rashba seems to feel the issue is there was a break at night. You destroyed the whole case. Can't start again in the morning.
Yeah.
Says the Ran.
You can't even go back.
Sounds like not. But the Ran didn't like this. V'lonichali. He said, I don't like this. Bahai Piruka. I don't like this answer. I don't like this. I don't like it. Avalidilo kasha midei. But for me, this isn't even a question. Mishum dim ita de daininan lekiddush hachodesh kedin mamonot the dani b'yom going belayla amakula milta bater tchiladin shadinan le not shadinan but shadinan la the lo kevan the yom ba'inan heya going belayla. So to me, this isn't even a question. Because if you're going to say that Kiddush HaChodesh is just like Dinei Mamonot, where it could be done in the day and finish at night, so therefore the whole thing goes according to Tchilat Din, that you throw everything according to Tchilat Din, and therefore it's continuing, right? Because if not, so since you need daytime, how are you going to finish at night altogether? That was a Havamina. And then we said, no, it's not going to work. Kamash Malan, you have to wait. That all thing has to be during the day. Ella, Vadai Hainu Taima. The cave and the heavy tchilato b'yom gamru nami bater tchilato shadinan lei uchi'ilu nigmar b'yom dame. So no, the rationale is as follows: when we say tchilat hayom, right, the tchilat b'yom, they finished it, right. It means we learn also that if we started in the day and we finished at night, we make it as if the whole thing was finished during the day. The cave and shekain bedinu de nekadshe lemafreya. Then it would be halachically permissible to Mekadesh it retroactively the next day. The next day we would just say, well, the whole thing's a continuation of what came before. We started it, we got to the end, and when we're saying this now, it's all retroactive to a day before, as if today is like the day before. We're just saying Lafreya. Yes, since the whole case happened, we couldn't be Mekadesh at night, we'll just throw back an entire day. Since we said, though, that the conclusion has to be also during the day, Alma lo shadinan le batat tchilato. Since we said the conclusion of the adjudication also has to be during the day. Ela achar sha'ah shenigmar bo the kevin shekain hayach nekadesh tolam afreya kach nirali. The end of the whole adjudication did take place at night. That's what wrecked it. But according to the Ran, yeah, you could just say pause. Let's not finish now. We'll wait till the morning. We'll start the whole thing again. Taka, maybe. But if you finish the case at night, and now you want to say in the morning, we're going to make the announcement and it's going to go to Mafreya, it's not because the nighttime you weren't able to be Makadesh. It's that the end of that adjudication could not have happened that night. You don't, the whole point of the end of this with Chok and Mishpat is to say we break between the day and the night. We don't say like Dinim Mamonot that it's a continuity and that you backdate it to what happened before. It's just not going to work like that. You can't say that. Do we have another minute to do 2 more lines of the Gemara? Back in the Gemara?
But backdating, I mean, wouldn't they have missed the court run in that case? Because they would have had to do Musaf the day before.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to.
Yeah, that's also a challenge. That's also a challenge. Good question. Yeah. Actually, I just saw it's 10:45, and the truth is I have a Chavrus at 10:45, so give me a thumbs up that he's coming. So okay. It's another 5-6 minutes, but okay. Monday, we're back on.
Yep.
Okay, and now we're sticking to Mondays. Yeah. Monday 7:15, and then of course Boys Bar Mitzvah group are after that. The following Monday, the 12th is the Geshir on the girls Bar Mitzvah group, and then the 19th, everything good, and we're good. We should be Bli Neder, you never know. We should be good like this
Baruch
a long
Hashem.
time now. Standard Monday night. See you 7:15. Sei gesund.